Welcome to the United States of America podcast. I am your host, Niti, and we are broadcasting live from the Food Church here on North Carolina. If you've missed past episodes, please be sure to take the time to watch the first episode and watch the rest like a documentary. We are a people at peace, and we have declared peace to all nations around the world. This is not a marketing or a promotional channel. We are shining a light on knowledge that is being hidden from you, and we're sharing the truth about your birthright and your inheritance. We have moderators who are assisting in the comment section. Be kind and self-govern. If you have questions, please put them in all caps and only enter them once per show. I am joined on air normally with Greg Clarkson, who is actually on vacation this week, but he'll be joining us next week. And now I am proud to introduce you to Justice Anna Maria, who is joining us live from Big Lake, Alaska. Welcome, Anna.
Good morning, Niti. I guess it's afternoon where you are, but it's still morning here.
Yes. Well, okay. So you and I were having a little discussion a little bit this weekend. And so I've got some questions. Well, Greg and I put these together for you a little bit, but you are currently trying to help folks. Well, you've been doing this anyway for the past few weeks, ever since, has it been weeks? I don't know. I don't know if it's days or weeks. I'm sure you don't know. But ever since Trump took over, what is the difference between nationality and citizenship? I thought we could dig into this a little bit more, especially as we work to complete our land recording and publishing office focused on servicing the people with these land patents. There's a great deal of confusion between the remedy that one receives from leveraging their land patent as a U.S. incorporated person versus the American land and soil capital P person who records their interest in a distinct parcel and address created by the living man. So that's one of the things that we hope to discuss. And then further, you stated that land grants are for the benefit of the living population. Like, did you mean the nation, of a country? And patents are for the businesses and corporations, which are more like use permits. So does this mean that Americans are the only ones who can own the land here because our nation, America, was granted the land from Spain? Or if you could give us some more clarity on that. So wherever you would like to begin on that. You're like, girl, I'm just drinking. Let me have another sip. I mean, because, when we talk about nationality and citizenship, right, folks are very confused. They don't comprehend because all their lives they've been, reaching for this American citizenship, U.S. citizenship. Well, we don't do that, right?
No, it's a red herring. Okay. It's a substitution scheme. All right. Americans do not want birthright citizenship. We do not believe in birthright citizenship. Our forefathers fought against birthright citizenship. And by now you're probably shaking your head and wondering, what? Because all your life you've been taught that citizenship is a wonderful thing and that we're all citizens.
Right. No. It was so funny, Anna, when I was growing up in the South, and, I was the Indian girl and everybody was either white or black. Well, on the papers, you always had to pick white or black. And I'm like, but I'm not white or black. I'm Indian. And they're like, what are you talking about? I go, well, just because you don't know where you're from doesn't mean that I don't know where I'm from. I'm from India. So you just must be white or black because you don't know what your nationality is. And they were just like, what?
Citizenship implies that you have a duty to serve the government as if you were a paid or unpaid government employee. Okay? And in most of the other countries of the world, when a baby is born, they become a de facto obligatory citizen owing service to the government. And that government can be a socialist dictatorship, it can be a theocracy, it can be a monarchy, whatever that government is. When that baby is born, a citizenship is presumed against that baby. And they are presumed to have a duty and obligation to serve that government and pay that government and support that government. A baby. Think about that. That's birthright citizenship. Here in America, we fought and fought hard for 8 long, bitter years so that we would not have birthright citizenship. And we would have birthright nationality instead. Okay? Here, a baby is born free, and they do not undertake any obligation of citizenship unless they want to, and they're past the age of 21 years. You see, a person should make a conscious decision about serving their government, and they should have the competency to do so, right? So our forefathers instead established birthright nationality. And your nationality comes from your state of the union. You're born as a Wisconsinite, a Virginian, a Californian, a Minnesotan, a New Yorker, a Texan. You see, that's what you as an American receive as your birthright, is your nationality at the state level.
The state national. So this is an important point, Anna, because everyone out there is so busy arguing about sovereign citizen and blah 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 blah, and no, and it's literally your nationality, and we have to refer to it as a state national on America because we have the union. And it's kind of confusing because a lot of folks don't comprehend each state is a nation state. So,
right. And a nation refers to the people, whereas the state is referring to the landmass that they are populating.
Which is also the country. Let's not let them get too confused, Anna, because I'm saying this the way that I'm saying it with you because I don't want to misspeak, A. And B, I want everyone to realize that we're saying the same thing, that a nation state is a country like France and North Carolina is the same thing. Nation state. But a lot of people, Anna, especially a lot of Americans, don't believe that because they think the nation, the country, is the United States of America or the U.S., right? They aren't really aware. So we're just having to re-educate them on basic ABCs, in this way. So just trying to clarify a little bit more because they're confusing the state national title. Again, we don't do titles. It's a lot of confusion. I mean, I don't.
They don't know what national means versus citizen versus nation versus state, but it's actually pretty simple and fast. Learn. Citizen means you owe the government service.
Right.
And if you don't owe the government service because you're a government employee and you're not consciously, intentionally volunteering to serve the government in some capacity, then you should resist being called a citizen of any kind. You should just say, no, I'm not a citizen. I'm not here to work for the government. I'm here for the government to work for me. Thank you very much.
Right.
You see.
And they confuse it with being documented or undocumented, being legal or not legal. And we need people to comprehend there's lawful and legal, and you're lawfully a national.
Right. Yes. Well, um, you shouldn't be counted as any kind of citizen at all because you didn't volunteer, did you?
Right.
You didn't consciously get up one morning and say, gee, I really love this government that I've got, doing all these things. And so I'm going to support it by volunteering my home as collateral for their spending. And I'm going to volunteer my services for no cost or no paycheck or benefits from them. Right. You did that, huh? No, you didn't. You didn't. They presumed upon you.
Right.
They presumed a citizenship obligation upon you. And now it's up to you to say, no, thanks. You really don't want a citizenship obligation. Some people accept it in exchange for a paycheck and a benefit program, but that doesn't mean everyone does or wants to, right?
Correct.
And as the Brits who live here among us, who are here supposedly on a temporary basis to provide us with good faith government services, have been presuming their citizenship obligations upon us and treating us as British subjects when we're not, when we never agreed to anything like that. And when they purloined undisclosed citizenship obligations and foisted them off on us using undisclosed contracts that were signed by our mothers when we were just babies in the cradle. So that to us, all these obligations that we supposedly accrued are totally unconscionable. We don't know what happened when we were babies in our cradles.
Right.
And so it's an unconscionable contract so far as we are concerned. And we need to repudiate that contract in no uncertain terms and tell the Brits to get their freaking sticky fingers off of us and our property and stop making false claims in behalf of their queen or king.
And misaddressing us and including us in the Residence Act as residents as they are. That's the problem. So this is, again, a language issue. So for all the new folks, there's a lot of language that we're trying to retrain everyone in these videos. That is what the purpose of all of this is because you have to unlearn and then you have to relearn the truth because what they've been doing is lying to us. And here, like today, I really want us to try to dig into this if we can a little bit, Anna. So leveraging the land patent as a U.S. incorporated.
Wait. The quickest way out of the citizenship versus national business in a court is to look the judge right in the eye and say, I'm not a federal dual citizen, I'm a Minnesotan.
Yep. Because the federal dual citizen that Anna speaks of is between the British territorial and the Papist municipal dual citizen, so that they can interchangeably change your name to one or the other and control you either way and keep you enslaved, where Anna is trying to explain to you that you could just be the Minnesotan, which is on this end of the stick. This is the other problem. If this is the end of this, if this is the stick, and there's the corporate and incorporated side, unincorporated and incorporated side of the stick, then the red and the blue is on the same incorporated side, and the unincorporated side is the Americans, y'all. So this is where the confusion is. Everyone's so busy over here, Anna, thinking that there's two. They think it's like this way, like two choices. Democrat or Republican, ding dong, red or blue. No, it's not that way. That's here, and we're on the whole nother end of the stick. This is the stick of two choices, and they're here and we're here. So it's only about incorporated versus unincorporated.
Well, yeah. These people have developed a phony system, a system that is just based on legal fiction. Okay? So they make this up. Our government doesn't function on political parties. We don't have political parties. The actual American government argues different topics and issues, but has never been in the control of any kind of political party. Now stop and think about how crazy this is, folks. You've got these two things called political parties, and they're basically just lobbying groups that are in there trying to get a larger percentage of the public purse directed to their members and their causes. Okay? They're a constituency, they're a special interest group. And the parties themselves are lobbying organizations. Okay, so you think of the evil lobbyists that are supporting the tobacco industry or big pharma or whatever. Well, in a larger sense, political parties are nothing but lobbyist organizations. Okay, so you have these two lobbyist organizations. You got, as my grandmother put it, you've got two kinds of pigs. You got brown pigs and you got white pigs, but they're both pigs, right? So you've got Democrats and you got Republicans, but they're both pigs. And they're both trying to raid the public trough and get as much out of it for themselves as they can. All right, that's what you've actually got controlling your political process in this country. And whether you choose to be a brown pig or a white pig is completely immaterial to the actual public because you're still being a pig, right? So
right. It's also like reality, right, Anna? So this is the other part of it. Like we living men and women are dealing with reality, and the politicians are dealing in theater, y'all. It's just corporate chaos and confusion because they're just constantly looking to get paid for something in commerce. And we're operating in reality with our hands in the dirt. That's a different situation.
Yeah, well, just think about pigs. They're just gonna, what they're looking for is the suey, and they're looking for the food.
Fix.
So,
yeah.
Right. So think about how crazy this is. You've got the Democrats choosing their candidate, and you got the Republicans choosing their candidate, and both of them are playing against who? You. They're playing against your money. They're looking to feed off of you and your assets. And you're stupid enough to choose one or the other of them because you think that's the choice. No, there's a third choice. You can stand there as the farmer and say, bad pigs, get away from the draw, And so instead of voting for whoever it is that they want to represent their brand of pigdom, you can do your own thing. You can elect your own officers. You can have your own public elections. This is the other thing. All these political elections are private elections within corporations, as if you were voting in an election for the president of Exxon or the president of General Motors.
In their theater company. Yeah, it's a theatrical performance, y'all. This is what we're trying to say. It's not real. This is real. This isn't real. And they want you to just operate right over here. Most of the questions that are here right now, Anna, are just about this. So this is why this is so important. I've been listening to you, and I love it. It's really, really important for them to comprehend nationality versus citizenship because, again, they think that they're not officially allowed to be here unless they have the citizenship. This is,
No.
Yeah, this is this is the lie. But it's sold to everybody and they buy it hook, line, and sinker. Okay, Anna? That's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, no, the important thing is your nationality, not your citizenship.
Right.
And you don't want any kind of birthright or obligatory citizenship. That's what we fought to get away from. So wake
Anna,
up.
how can we have a
You
job,
know,
Anna? But then how can we have a job? How can we make the money? How can we do the things? This is what creates the next level confusion, right? So now everybody tries to find the remedy, Anna, around that. Okay. So
do
this
your employees have the right to tell you what to do, or do you have the right to tell your employees what to do? Think about it.
right.
You got to get a backbone. You got to push back. You got to say, wait a minute, you guys are my employees. Citizens are government employees. Okay, so you guys want to be citizens, fine. We don't need to hear anything from you. You have 18 appointed things that you're supposed to be doing. Do them.
Right.
Otherwise, leave us alone. You know, do you in the enumerated powers, is there anything that says that you can mandate my health decisions? No, there
No.
isn't. Okay. In your 18 powers that you were delegated, is there anything that says that you can tax my house arbitrarily on behalf of a bank? No, there isn't. So go away. You have to become aware, number one, of who you are, what your real standing is, what your real position as an employer is, and you need to tell your employees what to do. You know, we walked out of the store and left it in the care of our employees. Okay, we left the wheelhouse and we left it in the care of our officers, right? That was 160 years ago, folks.
So then
Those people have taken over. They've done whatever they wanted, just like your employees would, right? And some of them have been very faithful and done a very good job. Others not so much. Others tried to sell the store, have tried to sell all of the stuff in the store, have tried to give the store away. I mean, yeah, you've got a wide range of different responses from different employees. The point to you is that they're all employees. Now, you're the employer. Who gets to tell them what to do? You do, but you have to exercise that right. And in order to exercise that right, you need to know who's who you are, what the basis of your rights and prerogatives is, and what their obligations under contract are.
right.
You have to know that.
So this is where a lot of folks, Anna, start saying things like, wait a minute, so if we disappeared for 160 years or 150 years, then they can just, like they can just say that we were lost at sea and they can just do whatever they want to. So what they're confused at that point about, Anna, is where do we get our standing coming back after 160 years? So
that's why we declare ourselves. You know, you've heard about customs declarations, where you go through customs and you tell the nice man that you have 3 bottles of French champagne and 2 bottles of perfume and 6 cheeses in your luggage. Okay, well, the same sort of thing. You declare who you are, your provenance, where you come from, and what your standing is under the law. And that's why we do the paperwork. Number one, you come back from their presumptions. They presumed all this stuff about you. Well, now you come back and tell them where you stand and what your actual standing is.
mm-hmm.
Okay, they have you down as a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you come back and you say, I'm sorry, no, I'm a Virginian.
Mm-hmm. This is the administration. So is this because I'm just trying to get at this point, Anna? So they're administering. It's an administration. We're ministering. They're administering. We're ministering, right? Like we're ministering the land. We're stewarding the land. We're loving the land. They're administering. Is this because
We're acting as employers and as living people. They're
Right.
acting as employees and as in offices and positions, okay?
And we created that, and they can't supersede the creator. Is that why?
No, because we're operating as living people, they're operating as persons. They're
This,
operating as corporations. They're operating as offices and officers in offices.
mm-hmm.
Um, so when you stand up and say, "Hey, I'm a Wisconsinite,"
Your jurisdiction's over them.
yeah, right. Your jurisdiction is over them. You know,
This
you're
is
a
an important
Wisconsinite.
point, and I'm sorry. I know I'm drilling down because I'm watching this confusion with so many people who are like, I've been on the assembly 7 years. They don't even still comprehend jurisdiction. The jurisdictional piece is such a big deal, Anna, and they must comprehend that to be able to stand on their square. They can't do it if they don't know who they are and where did it come from, and that
Well, does it make sense to you that you're an employer instead of an employee? Do you get a government check then, and you interact with the government personnel office?
right.
You know, do you? Does somebody from, Health and Human Services or the DOT call you up and give you your work assignment every goddamn day? And do you get a check from Uncle Sam? No.
Right.
If you get a check from Uncle Sam at all, it's based on past work that you did for them in the military or in some form of government service. So wake the hell up. Federal income? Do you get any federal income? Do you get
Nope.
a check from Uncle Sam?
Nope.
Come on, kids. Wake up.
Right. So with that, when you have a U.S. incorporated person versus the American capital P person. So folks get really confused about this part too. You know, what is the capital P person capable of doing versus the U.S. on the other side of the veil?
They're your employees. It's that simple. I mean,
Right.
just get it through your head. They are your employees. You are not their employee. You are not their dependent. You need to get that through to them. You need to have that firmly in your grasp and
Mhm.
in your head. You're not the pig, you're the farmer. Okay, you got that? Okay, all right. We made some progress this morning.
Yes.
Now, you just you have to change your viewpoint. You have to realize that, hey, you're paying for all these services and all these people who are providing all these services, whether they have an authority to provide that service or not. A
Right.
lot of these quote unquote services have been foisted off on you and have nothing to do with the 18 enumerated services they're supposed to provide.
Right. This
All
is the
right.
reason why
A
you're
lot
not
of
waiting
these
on this,
services,
right? Right, Anna? This is funny. It says what makes the Federation confident that the de facto will release funding to open GFG to the people? Well, they're your employees.
right?
The,
Number one, they're your employees. Number two, we've already seized back a lot, and we're going to seize more.
right, right. This is
You're the
look,
farmer. You're the farmer. They're the pigs. Does the farmer have a brain? Yes. Does the pig have a brain? Yes. But are they the same brain? Not really. The pig is after the food in the trough. The farmer is thinking about all sorts of other things besides putting slop in the trough. Okay? You have a brain that allows you to figure out what is what, who's who, and whose assets belong to whom. It's up to you to enforce and exercise your rights and guarantees. You know, if you don't exercise your rights and guarantees, then they don't exist. Take a moment here and listen. I sold a piece of property some years ago. When I sold it, I kept a little codicil in the transfer that says I can go up to a certain location on this property and pick blueberries every summer. Okay, because there was a huge blueberry patch. Now, do I exercise that right every summer? No. Do I sometimes exercise that right? Yes. It's at my discretion. I can, if I feel like pulling on my bog boots and taking a pail up the hillside, I can go collect blueberries every summer. But if I don't do that, if I don't exercise that right, it might as well not exist. Nobody's up there picking blueberries, are they? Same thing. You make a decision about exercising your rights. You know what your rights are because they're spelled out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you exercise them? Or do you just sit there and let the season pass? Okay, you've been letting the season pass for so long that your employees have forgotten who you are.
Right.
But it's important that you don't forget who you are.
Right. And then this is another good question. So, would doing a foreign grantor trust be a jurisdiction conflict of interest?
Why in the hell would you be doing a foreign grantor trust?
This is what I'm saying, Anna. There is all this chaos and confusion. Listen, everybody wants remedies so bad. You know what they're doing, Anna, is there are people selling okay, they're teaching how to patent land that they don't stand on, which you've even said to me. You to protect and defend your standing on land or a land patent or whatever, you have to be on the land to be able to protect and defend it. You have to be standing on it, right? And so what they're doing is they're saying, okay, well, if you have a land patent, which they're selling rando pieces of strips of like a forest or something somewhere that they all can just collectively have a little bit of a patent on, and then using that to give themselves their
No,
right, their diplomatic
no.
correct.
All right.
Yes, because they don't comprehend nationality versus citizenship. Once again, they don't. There's so many of these little things going on, and that's why I wanted to bring it to you. Because if I say something, they're like, "Well, Niti, we don't want to hear it from you," and I'm like, "Okay, good." Anna will tell you today.
Look, there are 4 possible political statuses in this country. I've said this, I've written this until I'm blue in my face. There are the Americans who are nationals of this country in each state, right?
Right.
You got Virginians, New Yorkers, Californians, okay? That's your demonym. That's your nationality. That's who you are as a living person, okay, a living man. Then you have a possibility of 3 foreign citizenships. They are United States citizens, U.S.C citizens, and citizens of the United States. Notice that all these forms of United States citizen are foreign, and they operate in foreign jurisdictions. Okay? They operate out at sea. They operate in the jurisdiction of the air. They have nothing to do with you standing over here on your plot of land in Mississippi. They're your employees, and they're out there doing work in these foreign jurisdictions of the law, and that's all they know. But you have to know who you are, and you have to know where you're standing. Otherwise, they just think you're one of them, and they apply their law. They misapply their law to you. Okay? So now here you are. They can't own land in this country. None of the U.S. citizens can own land in this country. Anything that they have here goes into a trust while they're working for us that is administered by the Queen or the King of England, okay? Because they're English. Or it goes into a trust administered by the Pope because they're Catholic. and they want the Pope to be their trustee. Okay? We have our own trusts. We have state trusts. We have right now there are no United States citizens that are Americans working for a federal subcontractor. But if there were, we would have a trust called the United States Trust holding on to their property. Okay? So all of these people over here who are United States citizens, who are out here, who are your employees, who are working in these foreign jurisdictions, all of their property is kept in trusts. Okay? Your property as an American is kept in a completely different kind of trust. And we have our own land grants. We're the ones, we, the living people, are the ones that were granted the land. Okay, so underlying everything is a series of land grants that give the land and soil to the living people. And it's up to us to administer the land and soil. This is our realm. This is our country. This is what we have, is our land and soil. Now that was granted to us, as all land was granted by the Pope and the Spanish king, directly by the Spanish king. Once those grants are made, they're permanent. Okay, so we have land grants to this entire chunk of country. On top of that, we have patents, land patents that were issued by the British king to corporations and companies like the Hudson Bay Company. Okay, grants are like use permits. Okay, so the land grant belongs to the living people. The land patent, if one exists, is issued by a company to other companies. Okay. The land grant is from the Spanish king. The land patent is from the British king, who really doesn't have anything to say about the land and soil, but has to say about business. Okay. And then on top of that, you've got a British land title registry. Okay. So when you go through that first series of documents and you do the chain of title research on your land, okay, so you go down, okay, so-and-so owned this and so-and-so owned this and so-and-so owned this. And okay, well, here's where the land entered the land title registry system. And beyond that, down below that is a land patent that was issued by who? The British king or the queen at that time. And below that is the land grant that was established by the Spanish king. All right, it's like a layer cake.
Yeah.
Bottom layer is land grant, next layer is land patent, next layer is land title. You drill down through all of that and you get to a land grant.
Right.
Now, the land grants and the land patents are taking place on a large scale. Okay, this entire part of this entire giddy up was assigned in a series of land grants that took place principally in 1777, with parts and pieces of it being added by things like the Louisiana Purchase, and then the Spanish-American War resulted in 7 more states and the land grants coming to us. And so, all this stuff happened, but you still have this same structure: land grant, land patent, land title. The land title and the land patent shouldn't apply to us, but they've been applied to us gratuitously by the British monarchy. So we have to deal with it. All right, so our claim on the land is from the land grant. All right, but we have to thread our way through all the rest of this nonsense to get down to the land grant. Your federation of states, acting in behalf of all the states, went back and reclaimed the land grants. Okay, because we were there at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
so
this
we
is
were
an important point. I'm sorry. I just want to point this one thing out right here, Anna, since you just said that. The Federation was never deconstructed. Like, it's been in place since the beginning. And that is the reason why, friends, our nationality has been protected, because the Federation never went away. This is, they kept, I was asking you earlier, like, how we can go back to our nationality if we've been gone, and they think we've been in interregnum for the last 160 years. And we haven't been, because the Federation has always been active. And that's what I was wanting for people to hear. And you can correct me if I'm wrong about that.
It's more basic than that even.
Okay.
If you're the heir of a property,
Mm-hmm.
and you're out of country, what happens?
I'm still here.
If you're still the heir,
right?
If you don't return after 7 years, you're declared legally dead, but you're still the heir.
Lawfully.
And if you come back, what happens?
I'm alive. I declare.
I'm
here. Oh my God, this is such a good one. Okay, I'm gonna remember that one. I put that in my hat right there, because that was what I was looking for. Because there's a lot of folks that are really confused about that aspect of it, but like, they robbed us with lies as babes in cradles, and then they told us their lie growing up after they kidnapped us and taught us all the wrong things, and then now they want to act like they don't have to be responsible. That's nonsense. We can come back and find out the truth.
Right.
So
well, we are heirs.
Right.
We're heirs to this continent. Okay. There are heirs now standing on every state of the union. For people who've raised their hand and said, "Hey, I'm not a federale. I'm a Minnesotan. I'm a Californian. I'm a Texan."
Right.
Now, when you inherit an estate, say that there's an estate and there are 12 heirs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're the only one who drags your tail home and claims it.
Right.
You've still claimed it. You're still the heir. It's still yours. It's not theirs, right? The other 11 heirs can come home dragging their tails, and they can all say, "Hey, we're here." And they can have their share of the estate, right? They're all inheritors.
Mm-hmm.
So those of you who are coming home, raising your hands, you get your inheritance. You get the whole state, right? You get the whole shooting match.
Right.
And, there are a million other people that can do the same. All right? But you're all heirs. You're all heirs in common. Now, we've gone back. We have, done the declaration, and we've claimed the land grants. We've claimed the sovereign patents. And we've claimed everything up to the point where it's an individual matter. In terms of the states, we've claimed back everything underlying. We've claimed back the land grants. We've claimed back the patents. And all you have to do as individual people is figure out the chain of title on your particular piece of land and get down to the land patent level. When you get to the land patent level, guess what? It's already claimed for you.
Yep. And then we just rename it. We have to rename it, y'all. Anna wants us to take it and remove the easements from it and write out the we would do it the old way with the meets and bounds, right? So we write out the meets and bounds.
Okay. Imagine your land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a road easement on it somewhere that allows you to get into and out of your land via a driveway, right?
Right.
And that road easement is for the road in front of your house. It's not for your driveway. It's not for your land. It's a public road easement that runs along one or two or maybe even three sides of your property, right?
Correct.
That's public.
Mhm.
That belongs to the public. It does not belong to you. And they have gone by and they have named and numbered their easement, right?
Mhm.
So, some little girl with a clipboard comes along and she says, okay, well, this is the road easement, and I'm going to call this road easement 1429 Mockingbird Lane.
Mhm.
Now, admit it to yourself. Did you think of the name for, 1429 Mockingbird Lane? Did you have any part in assigning that name to what appears to be your property?
Nope.
No, you did not. You had nothing to do with that. That was done by a public employee who came around and just arbitrarily named your property easement and numbered it and copyrighted it. So they have a copyrighted description of the easement, the public easement in front of your house. And you use that as your address, but it's not your address. It's their address that you are accepting and using. All right. Now you have to have it clear in your mind that that address is attached to their easement, not your property. Okay. So if you use 1429 Mockingbird Lane as the description of your property, you're allowing them to attach everything that's attached to that road easement. Okay? You are saying that your property is the same as 1429 Mockingbird Lane, which in fact is just the road easement. All right? So you have to make a distinction between 1429 Mockingbird Lane, the road easement, and your land, your property. Well, how do you do that? You do a separate survey of your land, excluding the road easements. Okay, so your land does not include the road easement. You do a meets and bounds survey of your land, excluding the road easement. Okay, and that can be a meets and bounds survey. You can have a surveyor come and make a formal survey without the road easement. And then you can write that up either way, either meets and bounds with boundary stones or boundary markers, or a formal survey without the road easement. And you can call that property whatever you want. You can call it 4714B, Thunderbird Heights. You can call it whatever you want. It's your land and soil. It's your house. You can call it Barney's Haven, whatever. Okay. But then you take this separate survey without the road easement, and you declare the name of the parcel, and you record it.
So, may I ask a question about that? So then how far down and how far up does this go? How far up into the sky and down? Like our land is whatever we measure out. And then on that, when we record it, do we say anything about the air over the land and the ground?
No, the land and soil includes the air above it and the surface water and aquifer on it.
For how far up and how far down? To the heavens?
To the heavens and the center of the earth. There's nothing that they should claim related to your land. Okay, so now you've defined your land. You've named your parcel. You've recorded your ownership of this parcel, excluding the public road easement, because it's what? It's private property, right?
Right.
So you're establishing a demarcation between the public interest and your private interest. All right. So now they have no way of attaching your land for their taxes.
Right.
They have no way of attaching your land for their evictions. It
Right.
has nothing to it has nothing to do with them. They have a public interest in the road easement, and that's all you've given them.
Yep. Folks are saying some really good things here. And this is true. People just need to read. Anna has written all of this stuff, y'all. Every question you guys ask every single week, every single one. All I do, Anna, is read, 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 read. I mean, there's enough reading for me to do for the rest of my life because you've been writing for so long. I mean, and some of these articles, y'all, they're books. They're like 45 pages long, whatever. It's not like she wrote an article and it's one page. I mean, some of them are, but most of them aren't. And so, huh?
I'm sorry, folks. It's just a lot of information, a lot of insight that you really need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is important. And hey, Anna, our homeschool groups around here are teaching your articles. That's what they're teaching because the history books are not to be trusted. We're reading your articles and we're teaching that to the kids. And I just want you to know that that's what's going on. So, look, I praise you so much because you rebuke evil and you have committed yourself to making the time to do this with us every single week. And you do it multiple different ways. And, look, everybody, everyone needs to allow themselves grace and know that your questions have been answered. The funniest part, Anna, is when they say we never answer their question. And we always answer the question. But you know what? There is a consciousness that is required. You have to meet us vibrationally on some level to be able to receive the answer. And I encourage everybody to rewatch the episodes because I'm doing the episodes with Anna and I go back and I rewatch them and every single time learn something else. Because there's so much happening in my exchange with Anna here live right now. And it's different when I get to just go listen to it, and that's just between me and her. But I encourage everyone to listen over and over again because we've been programmed for so long. And what's fascinating is after a year of doing that, and you go back and listen again, the third year, you hear something else. The fourth year, you hear something else, because it's an expanding universe. And so we're going to continue to get it on a different level all the time. There's a lot of personal work and a lot of spiritual work and a lot of reparenting that we are responsible for doing ourselves. And so I praise you, Anna, because our very first episode, we said almost the same things that we said today. And we do that every episode, but we're talking a little bit about more of one thing or another thing, but it's always the thing that's wonderful. And I keep saying this to you all the time is you make everything so easy because nature is easy. And that's why I've always walked on the truth and in nature because it is easy. It doesn't change its mind. It's not fickle. Like people are just confused all the time, but nature knows. It's operating in knowing, not guessing.
Well, and we're operating in fact, not fiction. Okay? So this is important for people to understand. Mm-hmm. Fact always overstands fiction, and our employees are operating in fiction. So, their only way that they continue to keep you hemmed in and keep you alienated from your rights and your ability to exercise your rights is by keeping you from taking action and making the correct claims.
Yep. These are some great points everybody's making, Anna. It's really lovely. And next week when you come back, Greg, he has property that is in a city situation, he has property in a country situation, and we were really hoping to go over both of them with you and like really hammer out the differences between the two, because he believes that the way that his survey was done for the one is a municipal way, and the other one he believes is British territorial. He's got lots of questions. It's going to be really, really fun, and we're going to learn lots and lots. And but I encourage everybody, every other question that anybody asked here, we answered it on a previous episode. Please watch the previous episodes, listen to what Anna's saying, and go back to the first one. If you heard it one time, that's fine. I mean, listen to it again, because you're going to realize that you're going to hear something new. And so all of this is important. We're not trying to diminish anyone. There's no reason to diminish anybody. Anna, people haven't experienced praise and love as a way to raise their families, because forever the corporatocracy has raised everyone on competition and criticism and diminishment.
Exactly. Well, and if you think about it, they do that in order to enslave and maintain order and obedience.
By dividing everybody, by creating nonsensical reasons to be divided. And religionists have that problem because religion is corporate. All of these things are corporate, friends. So we need to just think like we're 5 years old.
Right. That book, Everything I Needed to Learn, I learned in kindergarten. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Well, they're right. You learn to take responsibility for your own stuff. You learn the difference between your stuff and other people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You learn to get along. You learn to respect each other. You learn to say please and thank you. These are real basics just to, have a community. All right.
And it's easy. And they can do it when they're 5, because they already don't not want to love each other.
Right. Right. And so, we're not competing against anybody. If you're an heir to a property, you're an heir to a property. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have to prove that you're an heir to that particular property, and you may have to give up standing as a citizen in order to embrace your position as a national and an inheritor of that state. But what's that? Who cares? I mean, do you want to be richer than Midas, or do you want to be a public employee? Okay, there's your choice. It's that simple. Do you want to stand as a Wisconsinite or a Virginian or a Minnesotan and have the inheritance of this entire state? Or do you want to stand as a foreign public employee who's here on a temporary basis, residing here? That's what residing means, to provide services.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's your choice.
It's everybody.
You want to be a British subject?
No.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to be do you want to be a bondsman or a slave for the Pope? It's your choice.
And this is the reason why we don't need Trump to come back to the land and soil. We don't need anybody to do anything they don't want to do, you guys. That's the thing. Well, they can serve us. And he's a brand. Why don't we talk about that?
What? Okay. Would you rather have a employee that does what you want them to do and does what's good for you and obeys their contract? Or do you want an employee that is completely disobedient, an employee who just does whatever is harmful to you and which benefits him?
Right.
What kind of employee do you want? Trump is standing up as our employee. Support him in what he's doing to the extent that it is in conformance with his contract. The Constitution of the United States of America is his contract. He's a British territorial officer. And it's true, yes, he could come home to the land and soil it's true. He could act as head of state if we elected him.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, he's not acting as head of state. He's acting as president of a corporation. Okay. And so he's operating in a different jurisdiction. But you know, what he needs to do is do the job of a president of that corporation. And he's doing a fine job so far. So, pray for him, pray for the country, pray for the rapid correction and bringing that entire apparatus of the federal government under control and back in its box, obeying the Constitution, all of those things. But, he's obviously made a choice. He's in a position of power because he has all these employees that he can direct, because he has all these federal programs and agencies that he can direct.
Mm-hmm.
So, let him do this because, we need somebody like him in charge who's going to adhere to the principles of the contract.
Right. Right. And we also can help support and encourage by working with the sheriffs. I mean, listen, Anna, we've been watching Sheriff Max videos and, joining his group and using he's giving us the education on how to communicate with the sheriffs that are already in place, who can actually learn and want to be better by following a fellow former sheriff. And he would be working under Trump. Even, they would know how to be able to communicate effectively and work. Look, if Trump's doing his good job and then we got the sheriffs doing their good job, who knows what could happen? I mean, at least we can't make a quantum leap, right, Anna? We can't go from where we were to where we want to be without walking the path. Like, you have to take the journey. The journey has to happen. And taking those steps is the effort that people want to try to skip, Anna. They want to push a button and just get from here to there. But there's,
imagine the situation. You haven't said a word to your employees in 160 years. Most of them have forgotten that you even exist. Okay? Right. And so you walk back through the door and you want to start giving orders and doing this, that, and the other thing. They say, wait a minute, who are you? What authority do you have? We've got this whole system worked out where we do it this way, and we've done it that way for 6 generations. All right, so you're going to have to explain who you are, and in order to explain who you are, you're going to have to know who you are, and you're going to have to know how this happened, and you're going to have to be able to come back in as the heir of that business, as well as the property, okay? And begin this rapprochement with your public employees. They have to understand your authority. They don't know about your authority. They only know about their authority within their own little organization and hierarchy. So you have to come in from outside that box and say, look, I'm the heir. I'm your actual employer. And so, it's one thing for your boss to give you an order. It's a different thing for me to give you an order.
Right. Well, you did it, Anna. We did a whole hour. We appreciate you so much. This one was packed with lots of incredible information. We really need folks to just listen to the episodes over and over, y'all. I mean, seriously, go back, listen, a few times, because it's incredible what you hear a month later, what you hear 2 months later. We've got a nice compilation going here, Anna. It's really, really good. And next week, we're going to start breaking down this land patent thing some more. And I'm hoping to give you a demonstration. I was thinking we could do it today, but, it's the little bitty things. We're just making it perfect. It's going to be perfect before we show it to you, but it's basically ready. It's basically functional, and we're ready. I'm just like this going, and then when I see something, I go, we got to fix that. It's like, wait, that thing. And I have a feeling you're going to look at it and maybe send us back to the drawing board a little bit more. But I'm sure we're trying to catch all the things, and hopefully you won't have to do that too much, but we'll see. But
well, I'm hopeful that you'll get it right. Ron Gibson's process is pretty straightforward. Publication of the interest in the land patent is straightforward. Mm-hmm. Once you get to the land patent, we've already reclaimed the sovereign patents. We've already reclaimed the land grants.
Right.
And, so you don't have to do anything real fancy, Dan, about this. You just have to provide yourself with a survey that excludes the road easement and that renames your property as separate from the road easement, mm-hmm. and record that. And then you're set.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Come back and see us next Tuesday at 1:00. All right. Thank you.